Hey guys, welcome to the Director's Share podcast where we talk about movies, TV, and a little bit beyond. I'm Moose.
And I'm Jared. And thank you for watching.
So, how you been, man? How you been?
Pretty good. Taste of Pasco recently.
Yeah, so in case you guys don't know, we are basically filmmakers. Other than doing this podcast, we go out, we do gigs with a construction company called Home Love Construction. They're really good. Check them out on Instagram, Facebook.
Hashtag Brad.
Yeah, hashtag Brad. And yeah, we basically do events for them as well. So recently this weekend, we did Taste of Pasco, which is basically an event that showcases off all the restaurants in Port Richey. It was really, or not Port Richey, but Pasco.
Yeah.
And it was pretty crazy. I mean, give me your take on it.
Honestly, okay, so when I first got there, I was just focused on getting like photos and videos. But every time I walked past the stools where everyone was like selling food and stuff like that,
yeah,
I couldn't help myself. I was sitting there and it was like near the end of the event. I knew I was getting paid to do this, but that food just smelled so good.
I remember very specifically, like I went there and I had eaten prior to the event because I was like, I'm just here to work. I'm not really here to have a good time. You know how everybody goes to an event. And I went there and I was thinking to myself, I'm not gonna eat anything. And I ended up eating like cupcakes. I ended up eating like Italian ice. I'm like, Jesus, I'm a mess.
I know, I remember I saw like the bottom of your lip was like brown.
Yeah, it was brown because the inside of my lips were red. So like the interior area was just completely red because of that Italian ice. It was ridiculous. I mean, I went into Taste of Pasco with very low expectations, but according to the people who were running it, it was 4 times as many people as last year, which is crazy. And
it was because of us?
Yeah, it was definitely because of us. No other reason. It was only us. We said, go to Taste of Pasco or we will fight you. No,
you die,
yeah.
Pretty much. But we did the advertisements for it. That's what really helped.
Yeah, so we basically made videos, promotional videos for all the restaurants. And that is what, that's what we were basically doing the entirety of the time. Quick question, we can cut this out. Did you turn on the recording light?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we went with very low expectations into this, and I was like, I don't know how exactly it's gonna work. I don't know if it's gonna be a success or not. And then there were 4 times as many people, and I feel like it definitely has to do with the fact that we made those advertisements for all those restaurants. Mm-hmm. Not to mention the fact that it also promoted Home Love Media, Home Love Construction. I almost said Productions. And yeah, I just think it was a real good time. What did you think about Taste of Pasco?
Honestly, all the food was pretty good. I will say the restaurant that did win for like People's Choice and stuff, that restaurant was so good. I actually after leaving Taste of Pasco, I was kind of like, I really want to go there. I want to eat more chicken.
Yeah. So the way that Taste of Pasco works is that there are awards given out, and that's like kind of like the whole purpose. Like, you know, the restaurants promote their business. People who go to this event make money for the community, make money for the county, and then whoever wins like awards gets like a lot of promotion for their actual business. So when you win an award, you win this award, and then you get a lot of publicity for it. The person who won this year 2 of the awards was People's Choice and what else was it? Was it Original Dish?
Yeah, because best presentation was
best
delicious
presentation.
Cupcakes.
Yes. So the person who won the 2 awards, which was
Local Fresh Grill,
was Local Fresh Grill, and Local Fresh Grill is rad. It's really good. It's a very healthy restaurant. So if you guys like very fattening things, then don't go to this restaurant.
Even if you do like fattening things, like this restaurant's good.
I mean, it caters to pretty much everybody. I mean, if you're a vegetarian, vegan, if you're on the keto diet, anything like that, they have like keto pizzas, all that sort of junk. It's pretty interesting what they actually can do, what they have. And then they also have really good chicken, which I think that, I think the chicken's their best thing. I didn't have their chicken when I was there, but I ended up going back, I think like a day or two later, and then I was like, I'm gonna have a local fresh grill. It was literally right there. I went to Walmart and they were like, oh yeah, go to local fresh grill. So I had some chicken and I'm like, this is rad. I love this chicken.
Is not sponsored by Brad, but hashtag sponsored by local fresh grill.
But it could be. I hate you.
But Taste of Pasco all together was a good time.
It was a real good time. So a few weekends ago, I saw Us. Now I want your take on Us. I want your overall opinion on it. And I don't want your conspiracy theories about what the movie actually represents, like everybody else is representing on the internet when they talk about it. I want your actual opinion about the movie, and I don't want like, oh yeah, it's okay. I don't want that. I want like details.
So from a cinematographer point of view, I feel like the shots were beautiful.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that, yeah.
It was it doesn't feel like it when you watch a lot of movies, but every single cut or angle means something in this movie.
Yeah.
And even the begining sequence, if you haven't seen it, you can...
There's a very big spoiler warning right here before we continue. I know that I'm pretty sure that the movie's still in theaters. But yeah, it's still in theaters. But I would recommend watching it. It's a very good movie, but there will be spoilers in this podcast. I apologize.
All right. So the ending looking back on it, I rewatched it maybe a week or two later.
Yeah.
And thinking about it, even without knowing the ending where it turns out the underground, I forgot what their names were.
The Tethered.
Yeah, the Tethered was actually the above ground one. I forgot.
Yeah. So basically, the way that Us ends is that Addie, I call her because that's her name. I call her. Her name is Addie. The above ground version of her, but the underground version of her is known as Red. She's the one who kind of organized the entire thing, and you're like, why is this one special? Why is this one the special one? And then you realize that they traded places when she was very young. And the Addie that's above ground is the one who was originally below ground.
Yeah. And they give hints throughout the whole film, like the whole beginning where she wasn't talking after she came out of that how the Hall of Mirrors and stuff like that?
Yeah, the House of Mirrors. I think that the movie very much so is it's something that you don't really expect out of like movies nowadays. I mean, I knew that walking into it, I didn't know what to expect, but I knew it was going to be good just because it was Jordan Peele. Jordan Peele's a really good director, and. Yeah. I mean, granted, he's only really done one kind of horror movie before, but Get Out, and it was honestly really good. So when I'm walking to Us, I was like, I'm really excited for this movie. But I mean, it's clear that Jordan Peele had some ideas for this film before Get Out was even what's the word?
Before he released?
Yeah, before Get Out was even released. No way that this movie was like, oh yeah, here you go, here's some stuff for it. To give you a little bit of facts about how much money this movie made already, it's made $249 million. And on a $20 million budget, that's a huge profit for the company who made it, which was which is Blumhouse Productions and Monkey Paw Productions, which those companies are making excuse my language, they're making a shit ton of money.
That's 17 times more budget than what Endgame got. Endgame had a $360 million budget.
Yeah, but Endgame made $1 billion.
It made $1 billion.
And that was the opening weekend. I'll talk about Endgame for a little bit. Endgame, I'm going to talk about Endgame. Spoilers for Endgame. This is your final warning. Endgame was very good. And I'm not saying that from the perspective of like, oh yeah, I'm a Marvel fan who only watched the movies and stuff like that. I was a comic book fan beforehand. Mm-hmm. And I knew what was going to happen going into it. Or I knew kind of sort of what was going to happen. So when I was watching it, I was thinking to myself, okay, I feel like I know what's going to happen. And it blew my expectations away. Mm-hmm. And you know, I'm gonna do a quick search about that, but talk about your opinions a little bit about it.
Okay, so from the very get-go, like the first 30 seconds, like the tone of the film was already set. Like with Hawkeye and his family just disappearing, you could tell that this was gonna be like a reflective piece. Like it was going to reflect upon Infinity War for like the 3 acts. He talks about this a lot too, about how since there's 3 hours, each hour is like an act to the movie.
The acts are definitely structured in a way to where it feels like every single hour is one act. And it sets up the next act, which is very much so how acts should be done for movies. Excuse me. But, you know, the first hour, I'm not gonna lie to you, is very slow. Them, you know, kind of discussing what they're gonna do for the actual, you know, time travel portion of the film. Mm-hmm. It's very much so very slow. And, you know, it's intentional though, because they need to establish this kind of new thing in a film that's 3 hours long. If they're spending a lot of time explaining it, it makes sense. Because if they're explaining it and it's a new concept and it's something that is very complicated, then obviously they're gonna explain it for a long time. Mm-hmm. I mean, they needed to explain that, you know, changing the past does not change the future. And that was something that confused me originally, but it made sense once I was watching it, you know?
Yeah, because of the alternative timelines and they don't conflict with each other.
Changing the past doesn't change your future, it just makes alternate futures for the people who were in that past, which, you know, I found was okay.
Maybe they'll do a separate series for that Loki scene?
That's what they're doing for Loki. They're gonna be, it's gonna follow. So in Endgame, they have to go back in time to gather the Infinity Stones. So they go back in time to 2012 when the first Avengers movie came out and grabbed the Tesseract, the Mind Stone, and the Time Stone. So I love how I said Tesseract and then the Mind and Time. Like the Tesseract is just, oh yeah, that's the stone, the Tesseract stone. But when they attempt to grab the Time Stone, or the Tesseract, I'm dumb. When they grab the Tesseract, they what's the word? They basically fail. Loki grabs the Tesseract, and then he teleports away, and then we never see Loki again in the film, which, for all intents and purposes, makes sense. However, it's It sets up a wider universe for when they do release that Loki show on Disney Plus, which is really cool. So,
at least he's going to be able to come back.
Yeah, I mean, Tom Hiddleston was probably the best actor in the Avengers films. Well, not the best actor, but he was definitely up there because, you know, he has a really good performance in it, and. You know, seeing him die so early on in Infinity War broke my heart, I'm going to be honest with you, but I was like, what the hell, they're actually doing this?
It's kind of like Game of Thrones in that manner, where like it gives you hope and then it kills it at the beginning, and then it like redeems itself.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I mean, I think of it in the sense of, with Game of Thrones and stuff like that, it's very much so, these characters die and they stay dead, minus like one or two characters. Mm-hmm. And then with Avengers and like that universe, a lot of the times those characters come back. Obviously in the third act of the film, they undo the snap and everybody comes back.
You also see Star-Lord looking for Gamora.
Yeah. I mean, thinking of it in the light of, Avengers usually doesn't keep people dead, except for this film and the previous film. I mean, that's the perfect way to have this film conclude an 11-year saga. Have people actually be dead by the end of it. So have Tony dead, have Natasha dead, have Loki dead, Vision
Captain
dead.
America near dead.
Captain America basically fucking dead. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's a crazy movie. It's a crazy world that they created, and I'm excited for what's going to happen for the next few films. If Captain Marvel set anything up, I mean, it's very much so of a possibility still that the Skrulls could end up being bad guys, and they could end up becoming like the main villains for the next plot arc. Because, are you a comic book fan at all? In terms of like, do you know a lot of comic book stuff?
No. Okay,
so in the comic books, the Skrulls and the Kree do have that war. It's the Kree-Skrull War. It happens like during the 90s. It started in the 90s, and I think it continued for a little bit. The Skrulls and the Kree were both terrible people. It wasn't like, oh yeah, the Skrulls were good people and the Kree were terrible people. It was they were both equally terrible people. So they would go and they would fight and all that sort of stuff like that. But the Skrulls were more known than the Kree. So when the Skrulls came into the movies, they were like, oh my God, this is gonna be so cool. This new arc is gonna be set up for them. They're gonna make this own arc and stuff like that. They ended up making this arc called Secret Invasion in the comic books, where the Skrulls would kidnap superheroes during this one particular event in the comic books called Secret Wars, I believe it was. They would kidnap them, they would basically take their place, and then they would basically take their place, and for years, nobody knew that like Tony Stark was a Skrull or something like that, like Human Torch. Different characters were Skrulls, and nobody knew. And it was for years and years and years. And I mean, it was so hard to believe that some of these characters that you had been following for years had been a Skrull for this long, and you had no idea.
Do they inherit their powers?
Well, for certain characters like the Human Torch, it's like in their biology, stuff like that. Hold on a second, I'm gonna look up to see which specific characters were actually...
There was actually a thing that the third movie for the Spider-Man, because he pretty much spoiled that there was going to be 3 movies for the Spider-Man trilogy, and the third one, the title might have slipped, but I think that one said Secret Wars. So the third Spider-Man movie.
That's not real. That's not real. I told you this. A lot of times there's people who, what's the word I'm looking for? A lot of times there are people who make like fake things for it. Mm-hmm. And they end up basically fooling everybody.
Yeah. Wait.
All right, hold on. I'm trying to find. So basically, in Secret Invasion, they would take the place of them, and a lot of the times when they have like superpowers and stuff like that, they're usually biological. So like it's usually in like their DNA and stuff like that. So they were able to copy their powers, which was really cool.
That's kind of freaky too.
So, hold on. I mean, hold on, I'm trying to find. Okay, so yeah, they replace Tony Stark, they replace Elektra, and Elektra is basically like a ninja in the comic books. And then they also replace Spider-Woman as well. So they would replace basically superheroes and they would take their place, which is a really cool thing, and I really enjoyed it. It was a very nice story arc because it's just crazy. Like, nobody knew, which was cool. I thought it was really fun and really enjoyable.
So they're probably going to bring that in for Phase 4 of Marvel?
I hope. There's a very likely chance that they might not, because they're setting up the Skrulls to be like good guys. And I mean, they might change that because of Captain Marvel. But I mean, overall, I think the way that they're going right now in Marvel is they're probably going to do Secret Wars. That's probably going to introduce the X-Men and Fantastic Four, because they got to wait a few years before they start doing the X-Men and Fantastic Four.
Because of the Fox deal?
Yeah, because of the Fox deal. Because the way that works is that they can't use any new IP, or they can't make any new IPs yet. So they can't make a new X-Men franchise, and they can't make a new Fantastic Four franchise for a little bit. And even if they did like do it right away, they can't do it yet because Marvel already has all these movies planned. And I want to know what they have in store for Spider-Man Far From Home. That movie is going to be good in my opinion. But overall, I mean, yeah, it's just a real nice thing.
You want to talk about Game of Thrones real quick, or?
Yeah, let's talk about Game of Thrones for a little bit. I was very disappointed by the episode. That's what
a lot of people keep saying.
Yeah. I'm going to explain it from a different perspective, though. I'm not disappointed about how the battle was. I'm not disappointed with how the lighting was shit.
That's another huge complaint on Twitter and stuff, too.
The one complaint that I have with it is that not enough people died. And this is a very, very weird thing, but it's like I'm thinking about it in the sense of like it's, you know, there needed to be some consequences to this battle. It's been built up since season 1 of this franchise, and it's just, you know, it's crazy to think how much time and effort was put into setting up this battle, and then nobody died. Nobody important died except for Jorah and Lyanna Mormont. I mean, and then Theon.
Ed died.
Yeah, well, Ed died. I didn't like Ed, but I mean, other than Theon, Jorah was the only character I really cared about dying, and that made me upset. I feel like Dany should have died. I feel like Jon should have died. Somebody like that. Somebody with staying power. Somebody with like the power to like, because I really wanted this episode to be. I apologize for that. I really wanted this episode to be like the Red Wedding, where it's like
just so many people are just eliminated.
Where there's a lot of people who are really important die, and it's like, you know, keep like some main players like Jon Snow and, you know, like Jaime Lannister and Tyrion and stuff like that, but kill off like really important characters like Sansa. I mean, granted, Sansa's a terrible character, but she's important to the plot, which honestly I feel like is how it should have been. But
how do you feel about Arya being the one? Spoilers again. How do you feel about Arya being the one that kills the Night King?
I'm happy with that. I feel like that's how it should have been. I mean, I was watching a behind-the-scenes documentary about the episode.
And they said they'd known it for 3 years.
Yeah, I was watching that behind-the-scenes documentary, and they said we had known about it for 3 years. We knew that that's how it was going to end, that war. And I thought to myself, that's brilliant, the fact that you just knew that. But I mean, it makes me think back to like a lot of different things from season like, so it was 3 seasons ago, so that would be season 5. So they knew it since season 5.
And that's pretty much when she lost. Wait, when did she lose her eyes? In season 6 or 5?
Yeah, she lost it at the very end of season 5, and then she got it back probably about like episode 3 of season 6. I mean, I just think of it in the sense of, you know, you look at these characters and you think to yourself, that's really cool that they already knew this. But it also makes you think, well, what else did they know 3 years ago that we didn't? Like, that's definitely something that they've thought about. They know who's going to be on the Iron Throne, and we have no idea.
The actors are really good at hiding it. They're not like Tom Holland, where they just accidentally say something.
Dude, I watched some of these interviews with Tom Holland, and he spoils like every other thing, and I'm like, oh my god, dude, like what the hell are you doing?
Tom Holland's looking at Marvel. He's like, hold my beer, I'm gonna destroy this man's career.
It's like one of those memes where it's like, you can't spoil the entire movie in a day. Hold my beer.
Hold my beer.
It's ridiculous. All right. I mean, what movies are you looking at now? Like, what movies do you think you're gonna be seeing next?
You know, okay. So when we were at Taste of Pasco, Jeremy brought up Breakthrough. That one. Have you seen advertisements for Breakthrough?
No, I haven't. I'm gonna look it up right now. Hold on.
Yeah, it's a story about a kid who was like playing in the middle of a lake or something with his friends, and he fell into the water, the ice water, and I don't know how. Apparently, it's based on real life event, but
yeah, well, right now I'm reading. It's based off of the book called The Impossible. Hold on. It's based on a true story, and it released 2 years ago. So it's basically one of those movies where it's like they release a movie about how they think that God's real, and then they release a movie about it.
Well, it's not.
I'm not like judging it. I'm just saying that's because they did that for Heaven is for Real, and then they did it for one other movie where this like girl had like a disease. She fell down like a trunk of a tree, and then she hit her head, and then she didn't have the disease anymore.
Really?
Yeah, it was weird. But it was based on a true story, so I'm like, okay. Apparently that's what happened.
I honestly don't know what other movie is coming out this week. Is there?
I mean, I don't think any real like important movies are coming out this week. I know that I wanted to see Hellboy, but after the Rotten Tomatoes reviews, I was like, oh no.
I might not watch Hellboy.
I might not watch Hellboy.
Heckboy.
Heckboy, I apologize.
We're gonna watch Heckboy.
I'm sorry for the people who believe in hell, but it's Hellboy. I mean, I just remember watching the trailers and I was like, you know, the CGI looks god-awful, but I'm still looking forward to this movie.
It seems kind of like the ending to the Red Tape one. That was pretty funny with I forget what he says, the one with the Capricorn.
Oh yeah, he goes, you see, our relationship would never work out because you see, I'm a Capricorn and you're fucking nuts.
That's a good line. I like that.
I like that one a lot. I mean, I was so disappointed when I found out the Rotten Tomatoes scores, because you know I was just watching it and I was like, oh no, this isn't good. Because usually what Rotten Tomatoes does is when they release their score on Instagram, or they just release their score, they usually have it where if it's a high ranking movie, they show the score going down way down, and then they shoot it up to what it actually is. And it's like they did that with Avengers, where it was like shooting way down, and it was like at 20%, and then they shot it up to like 96. And I was like, that's pretty cool. Then they did the exact opposite with Hellboy. I'm like, God damn it.
It went up and then it went down.
It went straight down to 16%. I'm like, oh my God.
16% on Rotten Tomatoes.
So that means that Batman versus Superman is better than Hellboy, according to Rotten Tomatoes.
I personally like Batman versus Superman. I don't know.
I like Batman versus Superman. I just think it was really what's the word I'm looking for? It was very weird. It was like it was very much so Zack Snyder's trying to set this universe up as though it's a comic book. Mm-hmm. And that would have been fine and dandy if they didn't rush it. Like setting up like different storylines like very early on is good. You just need to do it in a way where, bring some seeds of it into Man of Steel. Then they needed to make a Batman movie and then have the Aquaman, Shazam, Wonder Woman, Flash movies, all that sort of stuff like that. And then do Batman versus Superman if you really wanted to, and then do Justice League and stuff like that. So you set up all these really interesting characters that are really cool.
Instead of just throwing them all in.
Because has nobody ever mentioned the fact that, Justice League made, I think, $400 million? Hold on a second.
Wait, what? Justice League made $400 million?
Yeah, hold on. I'm about to look it up.
I remember watching it like the opening weekend.
Yeah, the budget was $300 million. They only made about $700 million. So that means that Justice League did terrible in comparison to Wonder Woman, Shazam, and Aquaman.
That's a combination of all of them.
Is nobody mentioning the fact that these solo movies are some things that fans were saying these movies are going to be god-awful and Justice League is going to be good?
I liked Aquaman. Well, Wonder Woman and Aquaman were really good. It's just, I don't know. I think what happened was they had to switch directors halfway through filming
Justice League. But that wasn't intentional though, because, well, obviously, it's
Wonder Woman did really well in the box office.
Yeah. Hold on a second. I'm trying to look.
Shazam didn't do that well?
No, Shazam did well and made $1 billion. Hold on.
Wait, what?
I'm looking at. Hold on. This has not been updated at all. Hold on a second. I'm gonna look up. You can talk, so we're not leaving them in silence.
No, I thought I was gonna say Shazam was a really good movie. Oh, probably shouldn't do that.
Okay, so Aquaman. Hold on a second. This is from December. This movie made. Okay, well, I'm just gonna look up the individual movies. Hold on.
Yeah, how much they made?
Yeah. Okay, so Aquaman made $1 billion.
So far, okay.
Wonder Woman made $800 million.
Really? I thought Wonder Woman would probably be more.
Well, that's how much made. I can't.
I love how you look up Shazam and it comes up with Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I mean, hold on.
Budget was $100 million?
Yeah, it was not a very. Okay, so Shazam so far has made $345 million according to this website. I don't believe that, but it's whatever.
He still made $240 million.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. But then you also need to consider the fact that this movie came out like a month ago.
Yeah, Aquaman's been out for a little while. So.
Yeah. So, I mean, just thinking about these movies are doing extremely well in reviews and box office, and Avengers.
And Justice League.
Justice League barely made any money, which I feel so bad about. I'm not going to read the plot details of Shazam because I haven't seen it yet. Anyways.
Oh, you haven't seen Shazam?
No, I haven't.
Oh,
I want
so
to.
Good.
Anyways.
I think television-wise, in my opinion, DC does better television-wise, in my opinion.
I don't agree. I think that...
With Arrow
have you seen Daredevil?
Yeah, but that's...
Daredevil's fucking good. It's so good. Mm-hmm. Daredevil is my favorite TV show. And I'm so upset that they canceled it, but that's besides the point.
I don't know, like watching Arrow and The Flash and like the Titans, I guess.
Yo, Arrow and The Flash are so stale now. they are running out of ideas. Like after the first 3 villains, they're like, let's start using villains that literally just came out. Like they used Godspeed in the most recent episode. They released Godspeed and they were like, oh yeah, this is a really important character in the comics. We're gonna use him for a 1-note episode. And I wanted to die. He is a really interesting character, and they just basically threw out his character like garbage.
Zoom had his own season, pretty much.
Seasons 1 and 2 were good. After season 2, I stopped watching because season 3 was like
Savitar was not.
Savitar was not good. I didn't like Savitar. Because the thing is that after season 2, they started getting way too into like the alternate realities, alternate dimensions, and stuff like that, and that's fine. But it's just so annoying. I just hate it.
I think out of everyone from like The Flash and all those TV series, Carlos, what's his last name? The dude who plays the tech guy from Flash. He goes by Silos.
Yeah, I mean, either way,
that guy's really cool.
Either way, regardless, I feel like comic book movies and all that sort of stuff should go away. I feel like it should strictly be TV shows and stuff like that because it's a better format for telling those stories. Anyways, how have you been? Like, what have you been doing recently in terms of like the industry stuff and all that junk?
Well, I have this moving company that wants to do a video. I don't know if I want to do it this weekend or the following weekend.
It would be safer to do it the following weekend.
Yeah, because
I know how busy you are. I mean, yeah. I mean, I know that for certain things, I think that we're doing a really good job in terms of the projects that we've been working on. Mm-hmm. I think that we're handling ourselves very well. We are currently in the industry, and I'm not gonna say we made it because we didn't, but we made it. No,
I'm not saying we made it, but we did.
But we did. No, I mean, looking at our jobs objectively, we are part-time currently at this construction company that is trying to become a media company as well. And that's really fun. It's really fun. I love it.
It's just more to add on.
Yeah, it's just more to add on to our demo reels. And then it also pays well when we're working a lot. I mean, during the summer, we're going to be there full time. So it's going to be a lot of money coming in. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's just a real fun time. I love it. Anyways, let's talk about your...
Shout out to Marchman.
Yeah. Shout out to Marchman. It's a real good school if you want to be in the film industry and you're in the Florida, Port Richey area.
And you don't want to go broke.
Yeah, and you don't want to go broke. Marchman has a really good program called Digital Cinema Production. It's
where we're at right now, actually.
It's where we're at. It's where we're filming right now. Our teacher's really chill.
Kind of.
Yeah, kind of, sort of. Not really.
Shout out Art Mateo.
Shout out to Mr. Mateo. He is a really good teacher. He not only explains how to do certain things in the industry, he explains like certain trends in the industry and what we need to expect when we're going into it. So it's not just...
Sometimes a little too in-depth.
Yeah, a little bit too in-depth. Sometimes he goes on tangents, but he prepares us for what we need to expect when we go into the industry. Yeah. So we'll be watching, so not only will he be teaching us skills, he'll be giving us lessons about the actual industry that we're going into. Because the whole point of this school is that once we are finished with the program, we hope to get a job.
Yeah, just get straight into it.
Yeah. Anyways, let's talk about Hiding in the Light.
Hiding in the Light?
Yeah, let's talk about it. About your current project right now.
Well, currently the sound design is, pardon my French, kicking my ass.
Okay, so I'll explain his project because he's sick and tired of explaining it. So his project is basically a silent horror film. I'm gonna change the horror thing because he originally wanted it to be a horror, but it evolved into a thriller. and I'm gonna say a thriller / drama because there's a lot of like story in it that's not really explained, like in terms of like dialogue, because it's a silent film. Well, not like a silent film. It just doesn't have any dialogue.
I'm still trying to figure out if I can like maybe put some sort of voiceover or something just to make it a little coherent.
I definitely think you can. I don't think it should be over the entirety of the film. I feel like that would ruin it. I feel like it should be like very subtle, vague sentences are said throughout the film that start kind of like connecting the dots a little bit more.
Because the way it's edited right now, it's not too clear as to what's happening.
Yeah. Yeah, right now I feel like your project is in a stage of you need to be kind of evaluating it. I mean, I can tell that you're very much so in the process of you're about to give up on it. I'm gonna tell you don't. It's a really good project. You just need to be thinking about it objectively, and you need to be thinking about it like in a way of, you know, you're doing it and you don't really get frustrated. I mean, for my project right now, which I'm really happy about and I'm really excited for, to come out, which it's almost done. It'll probably come out within
What You Deserve.
Yeah, it's called What You Deserve. It's a drama. It'll probably be in film festivals, hopefully by next year.
Really good writing.
Thank you.
No, like when I was watching it, and like the more times I watch it, between like the arguments between both brothers, like I can feel the tension. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
I can feel that.
I basically just recorded my me arguing with my actual brother. No,
Sam's your actual brother?
No.
Oh, you got a lot of explaining.
I just keep my phone in my pocket, record our conversations with my actual brother, and then I just write them down. No, no. But I mean, when I was writing the project, I definitely thought that it's a project that I was really interested in. I really wanted to think to myself, I really wanted to write characters that were broken, and I really wanted to write characters that you know, when you look at both of them, either one of them could be the protagonist and either one of them could be the antagonist. Because I think to myself, neither one of them's in the right and neither one of them's in the wrong. Because, I mean, I'm not gonna spoil the film, but it's a project that I'm very, very excited for. It's a project that I'm very happy for.
Go watch it when it comes out.
Yeah, it's probably going to be coming out within the next 2 weeks or so.
As of the posting of this?
As of the posting of this, it'll be out within the next 2 weeks. It'll definitely be out by the end of May. All I really need to do right now is some extra color grading and some stuff to the intro, but other than that, it's pretty much done.
Do you have the pictures for the intro?
Not yet, which is the main reason why the intro is not done yet.
Gotcha.
Because I'm not gonna spoil it for them, but I'm mainly just doing some work on the intro and it's mainly just post-production work at this point, and then just basically getting the cast and crew together just to have one final hurrah for the film.
More pizza.
More pizza, yeah.
More pizza.
Honestly, I'm thinking about going to Craft Street because Craft Street's really good, man. Have you ever been to Craft Street?
What is that?
It's a place where they basically craft like basically custom burgers, man. It's like fucking
custom burgers.
It's so good. I don't really know how to explain it, but it's a real fucking good place. They have like flatbread pizzas, which I fucking love.
Interesting.
Yeah, I love it.
You kind of like the flatbreads that you got like Pizza Hut or something?
No, it's like
actual flatbread.
Okay, so it basically comes out on its own platter. It's like a wooden like thing. They lay it on the table, and the entire thing is covered in pizza, basically. It's just this really long thing, and it's really good. I mainly get cheese because it's just like, it's simple, it's easy. And a lot of the stuff that they serve on the pizzas, they're a little weird, but I mean, yeah, regardless. Okay. Yeah, but overall, I'm excited for my project. It's gonna be done within the next few weeks. I hope that once the West Palm Beach Film Festival opens up again, I really hope I can submit it.
Maybe by then we'll have the other project, not gonna say the name of it.
The project that I'm thinking that
the summer project? Maybe we could use that for the West Palm.
Which summer project are you thinking about?
Ha 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 ha.
Oh, okay. I'll just say it. We're currently working on, and then it cuts off now.
We're currently working on.
Yeah. I'll just say it. We're currently working on a fan film. It's gonna be both of our production companies combined. We're working on a project. It's called The Killing Joke. We're going to be casting people throughout the summer, and we're also going to be location scouting and finishing up the script by the summer, by the time the summer ends. And then we're going to be filming probably by the beginning of next year, which I'm really excited for. So. Yeah,
and then I think Sam will be a really pivotal part.
This person who is in my film is a really good actor, and he is an actor who, really invests himself into all the roles that he's in, and he's done a lot of really good work with me in the past, and I'm proud to call him a really good friend. And the way that I've seen him prepare for the role already is very interesting.
Was he pulling, not a Heath Ledger?
No, he's not pulling a Heath Ledger. But he is in the place where he is constantly just going at it. And he's constantly just like, yeah, this is what I'm doing. This is how I'm going to be operating. This is how I'm going to
get out there and do it.
Yeah.
Type mentality.
I mean, we're taking some liberties with the source material. I have been writing it in a way to where it's not 100% how the comic book is. For example, I'll just say this one thing so that there's a little bit of information out there on it. It's I'm basically cutting out all the Batman portions.
So it's kind of like
it's strictly the origin story. It's strictly the origin story.
So it's kind of like Rising Phoenix's Joker, where like it's only about the Joker.
Did you say Rising Phoenix?
Isn't it Rising Phoenix?
It's Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah,
Ding dong.
I mean, Phoenix's rise.
I hate you. Anyways, the project is strictly going to be an origin story. We don't want it to be he just goes insane. We want a very slow, meticulous process to him going insane, because you know that he's a character. When you see him, you know he's gonna go insane. He's a character that obviously becomes this character in pop culture, and when I'm writing it, I'm thinking, I really want to make sure that it's a slow but very interesting process of him going down that downward spiral. Mm-hmm. And it's a process that I'm really looking forward to continue writing. I mean, I have a decent portion of the script done. I'm just trying to make sure that, I have everything that I think that the script desires and needs.
Should be about 30 minutes or so.
Yeah, I'm hoping that it's about 30 minutes at the very most, because that's how we get into the short film category. We need to be at least 30 minutes. And we can't go we don't need to be at least 30 minutes. It can't be more than 30 minutes. So it needs to be like exactly 30 minutes. At
29:59?
Yeah, 29:59.
Right there.
All right, so...
is that including the credits?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
So that's been our podcast. If you liked the podcast, then go ahead and follow us and try to see more from us. And if you... enjoyed it a lot, then share it with your friends. We really appreciate it.
At the end of each podcast, we would like to do like a mailbox type section. We don't have one now because this is the first episode, but I think I'm still setting up the mailbox, but try sending stuff to directorschair@gmail.com. Or if that doesn't work, send it to gravityproductions@gmail.com or send it to retroactive media.
Media retroactive@gmail.com.
Media retroactive.
Alrighty, I'm Moose.
And I'm Jared.
And thank you for watching.
Peace.
I'm cutting that out. That piece, I'm cutting it out.